Vistas are leasing for as low as $299 a month. Check with them here at Black Automotive for all the details. Black Automotive Statesville.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC.
I need some real talk. Oh, I need some real talk. Give me some of that real talk.
Today's Real Talk, the show focused on North Carolina real estate. Justin Ckezepis, Claudia Ogrizek, back another week on this Monday, 3 o'clock every Monday. You can catch the live show. If you missed the show, you can always go back and watch it pretty much wherever you watch your stuff, wherever you listen to your stuff. It's all readily available to you. Has the market shifted so dramatically it's back to evenness, Claudia?
I wouldn't say so, but I don't know what's going on with the market. So now I don't have an answer. Is it a seller's market? Is it even? It's just crazy right now.
What is that? You're not connected and you didn't do any deals, any work this past week. You took off and went out of town.
I have two brand new listings. One in Statesville, one in Charlotte. Both hit the market Thursday evening, Friday. One had a bunch of showings, like 10, 12 showings. And one had the open house. And I had people at the open house, but And this is one of the reasons I host open houses when the sellers still live in the house. I like having open houses so then I can try to get all buyers at the same time so sellers don't have to go back and forth. And by the way, I need to talk about these sellers in particular. But other than the open houses, we had one showing. So 10 showings.
Wow.
One plus open house. And of course, I talk to my realtor friends constantly to understand and help each other. And some said, yeah, crickets at every price point, like no showing. People that have had zero showings and the listing is great, price is right, and nobody scheduled a showing for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, like zero showings.
Do you think that's because of the interest rates ticking back up slightly and kind of scared everybody off?
It went up a little, but not to the point of scare. I'm trying to figure out. I think it's a mix of course, what happened, maybe, and I'm guessing, maybe what happened to West North Carolina. So many people are focused on helping either going there or just buying supplies to donate. So I think people maybe don't have the mind to do it. Election coming soon, and I do understand, and I do believe many people prefer to kind of take it slow now and see who's going to win and what's going to happen, even though I do believe that it doesn't really matter that much because you still need the Congress. So it's,
a lot of it's the talking points and the unsettledness right now, but reality of legislation and all those kinds of things, right?
But I do know, because I've had this before, people buying, for instance, and they would kind of slow down just before election. So I think this is part of it. Yes, interest rates went up a little bit. So I think if you get all of that combined, I think but again, I had one, in one of the listings, we had about 10 showings on the weekend, which is way crazy good for what I've been talking to my friends, my realtor friends.
Okay, so the opportunity is there for sellers still. It's not, you're not claiming that it's gone. The market's just overnight turned off.
No, I don't think so. No, I think it's just an awkward, even though many studies say that this is the best time to buy a house every year, all the time. This is like kind of the week or but yeah, I cannot say it shifted. I cannot say it's a seller's. It's just a weird little thing. I hope it doesn't last long. Whatever is about to happen, I just, I want buyers to buy and sellers to sell.
Okay, so using an open house, that's an interesting concept, right? Because for a while, open houses, you couldn't keep a property on the market long enough to make it to an open house because of how many offers you would get sight unseen. Is that much time now available in the listing process, or is it more of, okay, the NAR changes have allowed for this more? What is it that's enabling, open houses to succeed?
I don't think NAR changed much at all, other than adding a step on our side, but I don't think it changed anything in terms of pricing, of interest. Yes, buyers sometimes ask extra questions, but the reality is it didn't change much. Um, I'm a firm believer of an open house, especially in my case. Unless I really cannot do it because I'm sick or something, I'm the one always hosting my own listings because there will not be an agent that knows more about the listing than the listing agent. So I was the one prepping the house with the clients, talking about the house, asking the questions. And there's always a question people will ask that I'm not prepared. This is a fact. I always prepare and I try to come up with like what kind of questions could they ask about this particular house? And there's always something that comes up during the open house. But there's no agent that knows, or at least it should know the house better than the listing agent, especially when I help my clients buy the house as well.
Buyers, when they come into an open house, that can be awkward. Certainly can be if they have an agent. You're an agent for the seller.
I tell them to walk away. I'm kidding.
How does that normally go when they come in the door? You have to, ask them from the first substantial contact. You have to present, all that whole rigmarole.
Yes.
So what is it like for you? Because some people may feel awkward going to an open house. So provide them some sense of relief. You as a realtor in there, what's really the goal here to help?
No matter who, of course, I ask if they have an agent. I always let them know I'm here to help. I'm here because I'm the one that knows the house better than anyone. Ask me whatever you can. There will be things that I might not be able because then I cannot cross the line if you have your agent. But in terms of the house and everything I may say, I'm here to help and I give them the space. I don't push them. I don't do anything. I always say, of course, depending on the question, I'm the best one to answer. But in terms of offer or, some other items or questions, I tell them, you have to go to your agent and ask the questions.
Okay, flip the script then. You have buyers that are exploring the marketplace all the time, wondering when that unit is going to hit the market. That's for them.
Mm-hmm.
They've been dreaming of it, and it's finally going to be here
so
one day.
Exciting, yes.
And that may include a potential open house that you're scheduled because you're only one person. You can only be in one place at one time. Do you allow or encourage your buyers to go to other open houses without you?
I am very secure about what I do to my clients. So I do tell them if I can't make it. And it's super cute because many times my clients want to do it because they're like, we're not 100% if we like the house. So we don't want to take time of your day or your weekend. Let us go see the house. And if we like it, we schedule usually this is what happens if I'm busy. They go to the open house. They have a feel for it. If they like it, then I go with them to a private showing.
It's just wild.
I always like to look at the house before. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you can do whatever you want.
But, like they go to the house. They like it. But, of course, it doesn't matter if it's an open house or not. But I have different eyes looking and judging the house. So they can tell me they love the house and they're ready to put an offer. I tell them, I'll go to the house. I would like you to come with me so we can discuss everything and then make an offer. But I'm okay with them going.
It just seems wild that many open houses even exist, right? Because I feel like probably for a moment in the marketplace, there was no open houses.
I always kept, even in the crazy market with people like COVID, people waiting in line, I always did it. Okay. I love open houses.
The open house queen, maybe the new construction queen, maybe maybe new construction, and there's enough inventory in the market, more or less. We got to figure that out today. At some point, we're going to look more or less active and coming soon units, 500,000 or less. By county, always start with Mecklenburg. We'll see about that later on. Also, Maintenance Monday.
Yes.
Got to take care of the asset. Make sure that we do that. We'll be back.
We'll be back with more of today's Real Talk, hosted by Claudia Ogrizek and Justin Ckezepis, in just a moment on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
I'll tell you what, just a beautiful week of weather coming up, and fall air is knocking on the door, too. Plenty of sunshine today as temperatures climb into the low 80s. We'll fall back tonight into the low 50s by the time you wake up on Tuesday morning, and much cooler and a lot less humid. Dry, crisp fall air is locking in. We're in the low to mid 70s for Tuesday, even dropping into the upper 40s for a couple of mornings middle of the week. That's your forecast. From the WSIC Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
The WSIC app is available now wherever you get your apps, featuring local deals from great local businesses. like top-notch gutters of Statesville.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Brookdale Village in Huntersville presents their free concert series Live Under the Oaks on Friday. The Village is open all day for shopping and dining with Rocky Lynn taking the stage at 6 p.m. Bring your chairs and enjoy on-site beverages from Red Rocks. Live Under the Oaks with Rocky Lynn kicks off at 6 p.m. Friday in Brookdale Village. Old Town Cornelius is alive again with October's Second Friday Street Festival. Join friends and neighbors on October 11th from 5 to 9 p.m. at the Oak Street Mill in Cornelius for the Second Friday Street Festival season finale. Live music, an all-star lineup of breweries, delicious food trucks, sweet treats, a kids zone, petting zoo, vendors, and giveaways highlight a night of fun for the entire family. We'll see you in Old Town Cornelius for the Second Friday Street Festival. NASCAR returns to Charlotte Motor Speedway for their annual fall weekend in October on the Roval. The Xfinity Series holds the drive for the Cure 250 on Saturday. The Cup Series competes in the Bank of America Roval 400 on Sunday. Weekend ticket packages as well as daily tickets are available. Also, check out deals for military service members, college students, suites, the Champions Pavilion, the Indoor Clubhouse, Terrace Box, 4-packs, and more. Don't miss any of the entertainment, including Eli Young Band and Tim Duggar concerts before NASCAR's National Series step closer to their championships. Visit CharlotteMotorspeedway.com for information, tickets, and details. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
The Renaissance Festival is back, Saturdays and Sundays, now through November 24th. A non-stop outdoor family adventure. Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com while supplies last.
We're back with more of today's Real Talk with Claudia Ogrizek and Justin Ckezepis on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Today's Real Talk, the show focused on North Carolina real estate. Justin Ckezepis, Claudia Ogrizek of Compass Real Estate, sitting in the studio again. More or less is going to happen later on the show. She cannot avoid it. She tries to every single week, Claudia. You're going to have to make a guess. Are there more or less active and coming soon units available on the market via Canopy MLS? 500,000 or less, because we've got to pick a price point. By county, always start with Mecklenburg. Last week, there were 1,748. Are you prepared to lock in your answer now, or would you prefer to wait until the end of the show?
No, I can do it now. I can tell you it's going to be above 1,800.
Above 18. So not only are you saying more.
I said it when I got here. I feel it. I feel it. It's 18 something.
It's a gut feeling.
Yes.
We'll figure it out. We got to figure something out in this inventory thing. Is there enough inventory for buyers in the marketplace right now?
No, of course not. We have way more buyers than sellers or houses for sale. Now, in every single price point, no. But we have more buyers than sellers.
Okay, so buyers have to get creative. One of those ways that someone can get creative is the particular loan product they're using, right, in these specific times. You do have a unique scenario, so we do want to welcome on Brad Roach of Element Home Loans. He has a show here, For the Plan. He's a co-host along with Jacob of For the Plan. You can check that out every Friday here on WSIC at 3 o'clock. And Brad, gosh, you've been doing this for a couple of decades now. I don't want to make you sound old. How many years you've been doing mortgages in the marketplace?
I'm going on 31. Thanks for having me on. And it's a long time, but VA is one of the best loans out there, no question about it.
Okay, so the VA loan process, and there's something unique you've got, Claudia, with a particular VA loan. Go ahead and present and ask Brad about this.
Yeah, so just so everybody knows why, both my brand new listings sellers are both veterans, both got VA loans, and both of the loans are assumable. And then, which means that a buyer that qualifies, and then Brad will talk about it, a buyer that qualifies within the guidelines can assume the loan as is, kind of, and keep the same interest rate. So both of my listings right now, and if you're not sure about them, I'll post it on Instagram again, but both of my current active listings are assumable. and both have an amazing rate of about 3.125, which is a dream. So they got the house, let's call it the COVID era, and they are both assumable. And you don't have to be a veteran to assume the loan, unless I'm crazy. You can be a regular person, and as long as you fit the criteria. And Brad, correct me if I'm wrong.
You just took the thunder. That's the best part about it. You know, when you think of a VA loan, you think, oh, I have to be a veteran. But on the assumable side of it, you do not have to be. There's what's called, what you should understand is kind of the eligibility. Like when you're a veteran, you get an eligibility certificate of eligibility. And when you purchase a home, a portion of that eligibility is used. What does that mean to someone who is assuming a loan who's not a veteran? The current veteran, your seller, would have to agree that they can use their eligibility to be able to take this loan on. So there's that part alone if you're not a vet. Now, if you're a veteran, you can use your own eligibility and still assume it. But there is some, I don't want to call it a cost because they've already gone through it, but that would be one piece. Another piece is that you can have as low as a 580 credit score, whether you're a veteran or not, to assume this loan. Debt ratio, around 45%. The typical veteran, I'll point out some differences here. Typical veteran is going to pay a VA funding fee, which can range up to 3% or more. Well, on this transfer, the buyer would pay a 0.5 point fee of the cost to be able to do that. So I think it's a great loan. We've actually, because of your call, I went ahead, you had shot the text over. I went ahead and checked what we had on it for a blog, and I'll send that for you all to be able to post, because we've got about, I'd like to say 15, 20 points as to how it kind of works, the steps of it, agreeing to the terms. What if the price costs more than what they owe on the loan? Do you have to come in with that money as a big part of it, being able to assume the balance? So while I'm rattling off some great stuff on it, I think there's several points to both the buyer and the seller being able to make it work. And what we've titled that was a VA loan assumption, a guide for buyers and sellers. So both people are on the same page. Okay. But I would end it with this. It's an easy loan to get into if it works out.
Yeah.
And
just
very favorable.
In my case, just as a plus, in my case, both of my clients are okay with it. They already actually bought a new house and were able to use their VA loan in the new house. So both are good to go. So it's basically more about the buyers than my seller. My sellers are ready to let the buyers assume the loan.
But Brad, it's got to be
the bigger part.
It's got to be realistic that the timeline is going to be increased with this type of loan product. Is it fair to say that as far as managing expectation goes with clients?
You know, when we wrote this, we said while it may seem like you'll get out of some of the paperwork, you're going to have paperwork. It's going to I would treat it as an average closing, 30 to 45 days, 45 probably preferable, because there are nuances that you have to work out, buyer and seller. But when the seller has already agreed, what she's done on this listing, unbelievable. Like I just was on our show not too long ago, and I'm saying, oh, my goodness, rates are down, and they're still at 6. This is a 3% bargain. Half price, that's almost what you should put on there. I don't know the legality on it, but that's really what's being offered on here. So in a comparison, you take a conventional loan versus a VA assumption. I sure would love to see the numbers next to each other and how a buyer could make that work. I think it's very appealing. Yeah. It really gives an advantage to both listings.
And one thing, but I think one of the main things that people also have to be aware of, not to get too excited, because on my Instagram, when I posted, people are like, the buyer, after everything is agreed upon, the buyer has to have the cash to pay the difference between the market value now and whatever the balance loan is.
And by market value, do you mean agreed upon sales price in a contract?
Yeah. Okay. So let's say, I don't know if I can use I'm going to make something up because I don't know if I'm allowed to use whatever but let's say a house is right now for sale for $350 and the balance is $250. So the buyer will have to come with the closing cost of a regular loan plus the kind of $100,000 difference in cash. Am I correct?
That is correct.
Yeah.
And I think there's ways that you can structure that. In other words, maybe they're selling their home. This would be still a better deal than 20% down conventional.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they could get a gift for portions of the difference. You know, there's ways to get in it when it's that appealing. It's strong.
A lot of times in this market right now, it seems like things are one-sided, right? Either the buyer or seller, whichever side you want, transaction. It kind of gives you that tingly feeling. Is this one of those win-win scenarios potentially for both buyers and sellers?
I think it can be 100%, especially. The seller's already won. She's already got them onto their house. They've had enough eligibility to be able to work out the new loan. The difference, I mean, let's put some numbers to what she's offering here. $500. I'm taking your sample, $350 sale price, $250 loan amount that you're assuming. You realize that if you took that same $250,000 and called me today versus taking the assumable loan, it's a $500 a month difference. Today's market to the assumable. So now I'm $6,000 up every year from assuming it. If there's a way to figure out the gap, is what I'd call that, from the balance they owe to the sale price, boy, would it make some effort to do so in every way you can as a buyer.
Brad, you brought up the rates. They ticked up a little bit this week. Did you see any effect from your perspective? I got Claudia's take on it before. What you think?
Well, I'm more depressed. Is that what you mean? Or you mean actual?
The sun was shining? Is that what happened?
Market. It's like we were going so good. The Fed lowered rates. Then this job, I went off a little on the show today about the jobs report, how that had such an influence on the market ticking up. And, the 10-year has gone up quite a bit, and that affects our rates as well, hand in hand. And it's interesting how a month or so ago they can make an $800,000 job error, but yet we're affected so much on the prediction was over what they anticipated. It's frustrating from a buyer perspective, and yes, it is depressing. We're up about a quarter to a half a point right now.
That's wild. And the other side of it, too, to get your take on, I know I'm throwing this at you in the moment here, but the NAR settlement and the effect of, commissions on which side, blah. Are you seeing anything of that? And because the lending side was one of the concerns, right? How would the numbers have to be adjusted, if at all, within the loan structure on a closing disclosure? Have you seen any ancillary negative effect or impediment in a transaction since the settlement rule came into play?
To answer that, no. It's all been worked out, and we've got several going. New contracts coming in, 4 or 5 today have come in. And, here's what we know. 96.5% of the listings that were existing had this built in there, already worked out. So maybe we're seeing some of that, but we just had one come in that they did end up negotiating it into the sale price. And I think that that's part of what you're hiring the real estate agent for, as well as making the deal go through smooth. So to answer simple, though, no, we haven't seen any difficulty navigating it. In fact, it's been business as usual so far.
You got to have the right professional to help you through the transaction. Brad Roach of Element Home Loans. Also, you can catch him on For the Plan every Friday from 3 to 4 o'clock, and catch him on demand with the WSIC News app, wherever you get your podcast, wherever you watch your video. Brad, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate you.
Have a great week.
You too.
Thank you.
And you got to have people like Claudia in your corner, too, who just take care of you through the entire transaction. I'm sure we'll have a story maybe from a client this past week coming up here.
100%, yes.
And we also will have More or Less, where Claudia guesses, are there more or less active and coming soon units on the market, 500,000 or less by county. We'll do that toward the end of the show. Also, Maintenance Monday. You got to take care of the unit. We got to, because if you want that value to keep going up, well, it does require the condition. Condition matters in the sales process. Coming back.
More of today's Real Talk with Claudia Ogrizek and Justin Ckezepis is coming up on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
I'll tell you what, just a beautiful week of weather coming up, and fall air is knocking on the door, too. Plenty of sunshine today as temperatures climb into the low 80s. We'll fall back tonight into the low 50s by the time you wake up on Tuesday morning, and much cooler and a lot less humid. Dry, crisp fall air is locking in. We're in the low to mid 70s for Tuesday, even dropping into the upper 40s for a couple of mornings middle of the week. That's your forecast. For the WSIC Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
I occasionally have nerve discomfort in my hands, so the things I love to do
Let's play something, Grandma.
became difficult as I got older.
If you have occasional stabbing and burning in your hands and feet, try Nervive Nerve Relief. Nervive's clinically studied dose of alpha-lipoic acid reduces occasional nerve discomfort in as little as 7 days with continued daily use. Say yes to healthy nerves with Nervive Nerve Relief. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Prioritizing your health is one of the best ways to take care of yourself. From routine visits to the joys of pregnancy to the illnesses that stop you in your tracks, Iredell Health System will be by your side. Learn more at iredellhealth.org.
Are you in constant pain, under constant stress? Just need a moment away? Repeat after me. Serenity Now Massage Therapy. SerenityNowMassageAndWellness.com with locations in Mooresville and Cornelius.
Bob McIntosh here with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Serving this community has been a collective passion of our law firm since 1997. We offer the quality legal services and results you would expect from a large downtown firm, but with a personal, community-focused approach right here at home. The McIntosh Law Firm, your local legal resource.
To learn more about the McIntosh Law Firm, visit McIntoshLawFirm.com.
Welcome home to the feeling of Horn Heating and Air Conditioning is family owned and operated and understands the meaning of community. We treat you like family because you are family. Visit hornhvac.com.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Boeing and its striking machinists union resuming contract talks today in Seattle with a federal mediator sitting in. The walkout entering its third week now. Boeing's last offer from 2 weeks ago was for a 30% wage increase. It was quickly rejected by the union representing those 33,000 workers. But they are talking, and it's got shares of Boeing up very slightly, while elsewhere on Wall Street, stocks began the day lower, and they're moving lower this afternoon. The Dow started at a fresh record high, down over 400 points, 1% down. The NASDAQ down 0.9%, so is the S&P 500. Oil is soaring, though, up nearly 4% to above $77 a barrel. That's on worries about how Israel might retaliate against Iran over last week's missile attack and what it could mean to crude supplies. And Airheads, that tangy, chewy candy, has just released a cherry-scented spray air freshener called Smell My Feet to ward away bad Halloween smells. Tom Busby, Bloomberg Radio.
Now, more of today's Real Talk with Claudia Ogrizek and Justin Ckezepis on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
Today's Real Talk, the show focused on North Carolina real estate. Thanks again for Brad Roach stopping by, giving us that insight, because Claudia has a unique scenario, 2 separate listings with VA assumable loans, which is a rarity, already a rare product in the marketplace. Does that open up the options for the buyer, for the seller in working through a transaction, given the current capital market out there, aka the interest rates that are affecting loans, also the inventory side, and sellers wanting to get out for a higher price? Didn't want to ask with Brad on the phone. I didn't want to put it in an awkward spot. Is that raising the sales price, do you think, by being able to assume a loan? Or no, is it just staying at the market?
It's just better for the buyers if the sellers can do it. And my sellers could. Both of them were able to buy a new house using their VA loan. Again, eligibility. So they were able to keep a VA loan. And I had a third seller do the same thing, but in that case, I convinced them to keep the house as an investment, but because it made sense for them. So it's great for my sellers, and it's just awesome for buyers. The only thing buyers have to be aware of is, yes, they have to come up with the difference between whatever the market value is now and the balance.
Right,
so
you can't reset the loan to today's market value and do 100% financing or anything like that.
If the balance is 400, you have to come up with everything else that you have to. So yes, in most cases you need 50, 100,000 cash. So yes, it's awesome, but yes, it's not every single buyer. I actually would say most buyers cannot because they don't have all that money.
Is this in a desirable location or is this more off the beaten path? What is
Both are
this?
great. One is in Statesville, super, super easy access, like 5 minutes from 77, less than 10 minutes from downtown Statesville. I don't know how often you go that way, but it's getting better and better and better.
Oh, I'm a big, big fan of 7740 connector. I think it's a phenomenal
Troutman, I-40, when it's back, but yes.
Sure. But locally, it's still a very vital organ.
So it's super close to Troutman as well. So awesome location. And the other one is minutes from Uptown Charlotte. It's across the street from Camp North End. So 4-bedroom. It's like both of them for, I would say, different target buyer, but both are amazing.
It sounds like an incredible opportunity. Again, it feels like a rarity where we see the win-win style transaction. But if this gets it there for both sides in a reasonable manner and the advantage of your sellers moving out, did that come from your advice and saying, hey, let's get you out of this thing first? Or was that just the natural way these flowed?
This was kind of a natural. Both clients bought with me a few years ago. One of them, the Statesville one of my first clients ever. And he was renting back in the day. And I told him, I knew what he wanted. I knew he dreamed about a large lot, no HOA, nobody tell him what to do. He couldn't afford it back then. So I said, hey, let's buy you the first home. So you start building equity, you start saving money, you stop wasting, and in a few years you'll be ready. And now they bought this amazing house. Now he's a married guy. And they bought this amazing house with a large lot back to the woods. They're going to build a beautiful pool. I'm going to hang out. But yes, it was a plan. So when I talked to him at first, and this is, I talked to him about him the other day. We worked at the gym together. And he has a thing, he hates salespeople in general. And the only reason why, when we were talking, when I became a realtor, I was taking my license that I became a realtor and I still had the job at the gym. And he said, let's do it. Because he said, I know you before you ever talked about being a realtor. So I know Claudia, the human being. And if you're telling me that this is smart, I'll do it. And now he has an amazing house and he will not only be able to maybe help someone buy a house at super low interest rate when he gets the money from the proceeds, because again, he already moved to the new house. He's going to recast his loan, which will lower his payment by a bunch. Because yes, now that we are in 2024 and he does have a VA loan, so it is lower interest rate for the general public. But it is, I think, 5.5. We don't know when and if he's going to refi, but he can use all the proceeds from the sale of the house to recast the loan and lower his monthly payment. So it's going to be awesome for him. And the other ones, same thing, couple moving in together, but I knew that they plan on moving to the beach when they retired, and the moment has come. So they found a house at the beach and they're ready to move on and enjoy their retirement at the beach.
Does it seem like there is a wide variety of needs? Because every transaction is different, right? Do you think that that's more prevalent today, a variety of having to deal with many different scenarios as compared to more of a consolidated, hey, we're moving up in the marketplace, hey, we're empty nesters now?
I have every single thing, like every kind of, there's no transaction that is the same, and every person has a different plan, a different dream, a different story. I did have, after my open house on Saturday, I stopped by some clients that bought the house. It's going to be 2 years in December, and they now feel, a young couple with a baby boy. Now he's a toddler, excuse me. And they think that the house is too big for them. So usually when you have kids, they're like, you know what? It's a lot of house to keep, so we might I'm going to run the CMA and get everything kind of the numbers ready for them to make a decision. But they're like, we might sell it and use the money to travel and do other stuff. So
one of the major financial points of a transaction, at least determining sales price or thinking through how easy is this transaction to go, especially if a buyer's getting a loan, dollar per square foot. Are you seeing still an increase of dollar per square foot, right? People may be looking and be compromising on smaller square footage, but the prices aren't getting lower on those.
they're not. I know many people are waiting for the moment, and it might happen one day. But in Charlotte, in our market, they are going up slowly, steadily. They are going up because we are an extremely attractive area.
How much does a garage affect a property, do you think, these days? Because it used to be, at least in the Lake Norman area, if you didn't have a garage, it was kind of the end of the world as far as a unit goes. These days, when you talk to buyers, let's say around Lake Norman, around Charlotte, is a garage the end-all, be-all the way it used to be?
It depends on the price point. I think for the lower price point, first-time buyers, it's something everybody likes and wants, but I have buyers right now, first-time buyers, and they say if there's no garage, it's fine. I'll figure it out. So again, at lower price points, I would, and by lower I mean below $550 or even $600. They say if I have to get the house,
so 600,000 people okay without a garage is what you're saying.
they are. If the house works, I do have actually. They literally just texted me. They are open to not having a garage if the house is right at the right location. They are willing to do it, yes. And then I have first-time buyers like below 5, below 4. They don't care. They want a house. And then, yes, if the garage is there, it's a must. It's a plus, but not a must. Now, of course, if we're talking about lake houses or, $6, $7, $8, $1 million, of course, people, and they want a garage. I don't think they would.
Are you finding well, that depends, right? Because if you look to the excitement of Charlotte as far as Plaza Midwood, Noda, those areas in particular, same thing as far as garages, or even more willing to be without a garage because of those particular neighborhoods?
I just closed one in Plaza Midwood not long ago. Actually, they came to my open house just to say hi. They bought, they were willing, they have a 2-car garage and actually like an upstairs unfinished area that they might finish one day. But same thing, they wanted the garage, and it was close to $1 million. They wanted the garage, but they were willing not to have the garage and deal with building one in the future if the location, Plaza Midwood, was right and the house was right. So we were lucky. We found a great one with a 2-car garage. So
how long is it taking buyers to scurry? Are a lot of buyers just still sitting on the sideline waiting on that unit, texting you every day? Hey, what about this one? Hey, what about this one?
Yes. I was actually, because I started writing down on paper, like my brain works well with paper. And I was actually taking a look at all the notes. Yes, a lot of people. I was surprised when I'm like, oh my God, because I'm talking to everyone so often I don't realize I don't count. But then today I counted because I'm always like on the go that I don't stop and look. But today I looked, there's a lot of people.
That's not a bad thing for the market in the sense of demand is here. The traditional sense of listings brings buyers. Does that still ring true for you as a realtor in the profession?
I would say so, yes. But yes. But I know that ideally I love buyers. So.
How many first-time home buyers are you working with these days? Quite a few? Or?
Like right now, I have, I think, 4 or 5.
So there is still hope for them, is what you're saying?
Always, yes.
Okay. What about investors? Any hope for investors? Because it seems like we're up, down, we're left, right. Which way are we going?
It's tougher, but yeah.
All right,
everybody
more or
has
less.
A place.
That's
more.
What's next. More. She just says more. It's more. More on the market this week than last. We'll find out.
I got one just.
There's more of today's Real Talk with Claudia Ogrizek and Justin Ckezepis on the way from 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
I'll tell you what, just a beautiful week of weather coming up, and fall air is knocking on the door, too. Plenty of sunshine today as temperatures climb into the low 80s. We'll fall back tonight into the low 50s by the time you wake up on Tuesday morning, and much cooler and a lot less humid. Dry, crisp fall air is locking in. We're in the low to mid 70s for Tuesday, even dropping into the upper 40s for a couple of mornings middle of the week. That's your forecast. From the WSIC Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Brookdale Village in Huntersville presents their free concert series Live Under the Oaks on Friday. The Village is open all day for shopping and dining with Rocky Lynn taking the stage at 6 p.m. Bring your chairs and enjoy on-site beverages from Red Rocks. Live Under the Oaks with Rocky Lynn kicks off at 6 p.m. Friday in Brookdale Village. Old Town Cornelius is alive again with October's Second Friday Street Festival. Join friends and neighbors on October 11th from 5 to 9 p.m. at the Oak Street Mill in Cornelius for the Second Friday Street Festival season finale. Live music, an all-star lineup of breweries, delicious food trucks, sweet treats, a kids zone, petting zoo, vendors, and giveaways highlight a night of fun for the entire family. We'll see you in Old Town Cornelius for the Second Friday Street Festival. NASCAR returns to Charlotte Motor Speedway for their annual fall weekend in October on the Roval. The Xfinity Series holds the drive for the Cure 250 on Saturday. The Cup Series competes in the Bank of America Roval 400 on Sunday. Weekend ticket packages as well as daily tickets are available. Also, check out deals for military service members, college students, suites, the Champions Pavilion, the Indoor Clubhouse, Terrace Box, 4-packs, and more. Don't miss any of the entertainment, including Eli Young Band and Tim Duggar concerts before NASCAR's National Series step closer to their championships. Visit CharlotteMotorspeedway.com for information, tickets, and details. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
The Renaissance Festival is back Saturdays and Sundays, now through November 24th. A non-stop outdoor family adventure. Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com while supplies last.
Today's Real Talk continues now. Here are your hosts, Claudia Ogrizek and Justin Ckezepis on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Today's Real Talk, the show focused on North Carolina real estate. Justin Ckezepis, Claudia Ogrizek of Compass Real Estate, and we've come to the final segment, which means that the requirement is in. She must tell us more or less active and coming soon units on the market in Canopy MLS. That's the local MLS this week compared to last, 500,000 or less, starting always with the county, by county. Mecklenburg County being the first we look at. Last week, there was 1,748. Claudia, are there more or less units on the market this week than last week?
I'm going to call more than 1,800.
Okay, so she's locking in more, but she's also trying to put a little stamp on it to say she knows the market and what's going on. It is more. I'll give you that.
Okay.
1,751.
Okay.
So three more units.
Three more. It's my two listings and another one.
But that's okay because pretty much, right? That's okay because the only thing you really had to guess was more, so you did it.
But I've been doing good. I think actually I forgot. I'm going to say that yes, no. See? All right.
Well, you were up though. Again, more or less is the name of the game. So I'm not going to penalize you for taking a shot at going for the bonus round. There's nothing wrong with that. So 1,751 active and coming soon units in Mecklenburg County. 500,000 or less. Remember, Mecklenburg County having 1.1 million. And so the random scenario that Claudia, of course, in your daily, nobody else would come across two VA assumable loans in their normal everyday life. And so you have, is that been probably I don't want to say most exciting because every move you make is exciting, but from your week and something unique in that aspect, was that kind of the top over the past week for you?
Of course, yeah. It's very nice, and it's always incredibly amazing and humbling, and not only to have clients come back to you, but especially when they are veterans. You know, it has a special feeling for this adopted American. So it is very nice and very exciting.
Okay, so that there's a new opportunity for a win-win scenario. Well, I'm sure we'll be finding out, are there more assignable loans out there somewhere in the stratosphere? And maybe you've got one. Maybe you're a seller and you've got a potential assumable loan.
Yeah, I think it's important to maybe people realize, if people are thinking about selling, they are not sure, they should know that maybe their loan is assumable, which can become very attractive to buyers. So instead of holding on and, just talk to someone that understands, talk to a loan officer, talk to me. We can figure it out, and maybe you realize you have like a very hot commodity in your hands.
So on Good Morning LKN this morning, I did tease the show with something that I came across, which I don't think is new, but I just saw it for the first time over the weekend, and I don't know if it's like been quietly behind the scenes or what. But Zillow doing rental management where they are partnered with another third party now, and they are finding tenants in properties. Have you seen this?
No,
I
other
hadn't
than the
seen this
regular
before.
Zillow, like people being able to list on Zillow, like Zillow is trying.
It's Zillow and a third party doing rental management in essence.
Ugh.
I don't want to call it management because I don't think that that's fair as far as the full extent. But they are using that word in the marketing. And so, have you come across Zillow on the layer of finding tenants at all?
No, thank you. So they tried to be the buyer agent, whatever, and they failed, and now they are gonna try to do the rental
So they're
market. And
Zillow rental manager, and so they claim for 50% of the first month's rent, that's the fee for finding tenants with this third party AI technology company, basically screening company, to attempt to find. Is this Zillow's attempt to change and shift their trajectory because obviously their iBuy model did not work out well?
exactly, I'm gonna say, yeah, go ahead, try, fail again. We'll be here waiting. By the way, can I say something? One of those listings. So when my clients called me and said they were ready, I started taking a look at price, doing my CMA, and I realized that their house, had been for sale last year, and I didn't know about it. So I called them. I'm like, hey guys, your house was on the market last year. What happened here? So they say they and I knew they had the plan on going to the beach. I knew that one day they were going to sell and move. And they said, well, it's just a coincidence. People call us all the time. And then one day this big firm said they would sell, no showings, no open houses, etc. I'm not going to keep going. And then they guaranteed that we would sell the house. And they said, we decided to give it a try, and we literally had no showings, no nothing. The agent ghosted us. We didn't sell. There was not one single showing scheduled. Nothing happened. It expired, and here we are. So,
Well, it's as easy as list your
can
rental.
I'm going to say, the right agent matters. The
Very
right
true.
agent matters. And they didn't even know about the VA thing, the possibility of this being a marketing strategy. They didn't know anything. I'm like, did the agent talk to you? And they said, yeah, they came, they used all their script. We thought, why not? They are guaranteeing something, and nothing happened. And the agent disappeared. So, yeah, the right agent matters.
It does, and you've got to have someone who wants to be part of the journey with you, not just the process and the sale of the buying, but once you own the house, you got to maintain it.
Yeah.
Maintenance Monday, what you got for us?
It's a to-do list because we are in the beginning of the fall, so don't do it now, but schedule it. It's to clean the gutters, the downspouts, and when you're doing that, make sure you have the extensions at $10 at Lowe's, because now the leaves are falling. If you don't have a gutter guard, your gutters will be filled with leaves, and then when it rains, it's going to overflow. It might hurt your gutters, and it will definitely not help you with the water away from the house. And even if you have gutters, I don't know, do you have gutters in your house?
Oh yeah,
Do you have them cleaned every now and then?
yeah. And I've got coverings on mine on my.
But you
gutters,
have
so.
to remove the covering.
You have to check them to make sure
yes,
that
you have
nothing's
to
getting
check.
through. Absolutely.
I know because my house, they had like the Amazon in the gutters because the sellers had put guards, never cleaned. So all the pollen, the dust, whatever, it becomes like this heavy mud thing in the gutter. So make sure I don't recommend anyone doing it, right? Hire someone, but put it on your to-do list as soon as all leaves are gone, because that's the sign of fall. Everything dies.
Oh my goodness.
All the plants die. But put it on your to-do list to make sure you clean your gutters, ideally every year, but at least twice a year. And even if you have gutter guards, maybe every 2 or 3 years, have someone to come and clean, because you want the water away from your house. And by the way, can I say something? I know we are still dealing with Western North Carolina, and who knows what's going to happen in terms of insurance. I want everybody, because you never know. We had Hugo. Of course, it was many years ago. I wasn't here, but it can happen. So be very careful. Maybe review your insurance right now, because I think too many people just go for the lowest possible rate without really seeing what is covered or not. And some people even have and they don't realize they have a 5% deductible of the amount of your house. So if think about it, if your house is worth $1 million now, you would have to put down $50,000. Is that it? Yes. Right? $50,000 as a deductible, because you want to save the money. So you do all you can, like you move numbers around to have the cheapest homeowners insurance, and maybe your deductible is extremely high, or maybe you removed important coverage like flood or wind. So be careful and review your insurance before it's too late.
Yeah, definitely. Two important points there: the gutters and your insurance. Insurance is going to be a big conversation, especially with Western North Carolina.
More and more.
Flood insurance, mudslide, all the kinds of natural disaster elements, and you hope some, right, will be taken care of depending on the company. And when you're talking about a natural disaster, right, catastrophic as compared to normal flood insurance, certain things like that. But that's going to be a case-by-case basis. You're going to hear a lot of different variety of stories on that, unfortunately. But as far as gutters go, we can use that to prevent. And I knew the moment that I needed to get something done with my gutters, because, the best way to check is when it's hard raining outside, you step outside and you look at your gutters. Man, it was like Yosemite coming out of the top of the gutter. It's not supposed to come out of the top. It's supposed to come out of the bottom. And that's how you know whether or not there's potentially an issue, because if it's clogged at the top. And so at that point, I said, okay, it's time to get some guards on top of these gutters.
I have to call the maintenance people for mine, because not now, but the other hurricane, not hurricane here, but the last hurricane-ish that got here, many of my guards flew off. So I have to get because it was so windy. We got bad wind. So some of my gutter guards flew off. So I have to get the company to come back and fix it.
I guess not as many, but I've definitely seen a few. The roofers and stuff, they usually come out after the hurricane quite a bit, and so you may see that. The rule of thumb I've found on the insurance side as it relates to roofs is a single incident is typically what I hear from over life, right? 30 years, 20 years, however old the roof is. Just being damaged over the life of it is not one of those things that are typically covered. Are you seeing, or did you see anything big on roofs this week as far as in the marketplace at all?
Not yet. But again, if you had the rain, be careful with the companies that will knock on your door. They might be great. They might be a scam. So just because they are knocking on your door, offering to check, please don't go. Just check with reliable people to see if the company is actually a reliable, real company and not a scam.
Yeah, don't let it be a scam like this show every single week. My goodness gracious. Only 1,751 active and coming soon units on the market under 500,000 in Mecklenburg County. That's a sham right there, if I've ever believed it. Are we ever going to fix inventory? Who knows? But you need the right professional guiding you. The right agent matters. Claudia Ogrizek, Compass Real Estate. Justin Ckezepis been hanging out with you. Join us next week. Catch the show on demand, wherever you're at, wherever you get your podcast, watch your videos. It's always available for you on the WSIC News app.
Serving you better than ever before.